डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन युनिव्हर्सिटी.
Hello everybody, I am Dr. Himanshu Patel and I am working as an assistant professor in School of Computer Science of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad, and I am your instructor for this module. Today we will learn history of mobile application development, Open Handset Alliance or OHA. We will learn about the Android platform, various versions of Android, what is native Android application, what is Android SDK and what are its features. We will also discuss Android architecture and factors that affect mobile application development. After studying this module, you will be able to know the history of mobile application development, what Android is and what it is not. You can list different versions of Android and you can describe Android SDK features and understand Android architecture. You can enumerate factors that affect mobile application development. So, let us start with what is Android is. Android is an operating system that powers mobile devices and is one of the most popular mobile platform today. Android platform runs on hundreds of millions of mobile devices throughout the world and it is the largest installed operating system of any mobile operating system and growing rapidly day by day. That is why we will learn Android. You can develop application and game using Android and it gives you an open marketplace for distributing your app and games instantly. Android is the operating system for powering screen of all sizes. Android version is named after desert. The current version of Android is Android 12, which is snow cone. Now, we will learn history of mobile application development. To understand what makes Android so convincing, you must study how mobile development has evolved and how Android differs from other mobile platforms. The first mobile phone, Motorola Dynatec 8000X, was the first commercially available cell phone and it is of brick size. First generation mobiles were expensive, not particularly full featured and has a proprietary software. Now as the mobile phone prices dropped, battery improved and reception area grew, more and more people began carrying these handy devices. Customer began pushing for more features and more games. They needed some way to provide a portal for entertainment and information services without allowing direct access to handsets. So they need security as well as entertainment. Early phone have postage stamp size low resolution screens and has a limited storage and processing power. These phones couldn't handle the data intensive operations which required by traditional web browsers. The bandwidth requirement for data transmission were also costly to the user. So, wireless application protocol comes into picture. The wireless application protocol or WAP in short is a standard emerged to address above concerns. WAP was stripped down version of HTTP and web browsers were designed to run within the memory and bandwidth constraint of the phone. Third-party websites serve up pages written in a markup language called wireless markup language or WML. The web solution was great for handset manufacturer and mobile operators. Phone users can access the news, stock market quotes and sports score on their phones. Now, WAP fell short of commercial expectation due to some reasons and critics begins to call WAP as a wait and pay. Why? Because handset screen were too small for surfing, web browser especially in the early days were slow and frustrating and reading a sentence fragment at a time and then waiting second for the next segment to download ruined the user experience, especially because every second of download was often charged to the user. So, in this sense, WAP shortfall of customer expectation. Mobile operators who provide the web portal often restrict which websites were accessible. So, the next is proprietary mobile platforms. Now, writing robust application with web such as graphic intensive video games was nearly impossible. Memory was getting cheaper, batteries were getting better, and personal device assistants and other embedded devices were beginning to run compact version of common operating systems such as Linux and Windows. A variety of different proprietary platforms emerged and developers are still actively creating applications for them. Some of the examples of proprietary mobile platforms are Palm OS, now which is called Garnet OS, then RIM BlackBerry operating system, Java Micro Edition or J2ME, Binary Runtime Environment for Wireless or BREW, Symbian OS, OS X for iPhone. Now, each platform has some benefit as well as drawbacks. So, Open Handset Alliance or OHA was formed in November 2007, which comprised of many of the largest and most successful mobile companies on the planet. Its members include chip makers, handset manufacturers, software developers, and service providers. The entire mobile supply chain is well represented by OHA. In their own words, the OHA represents the following: a commitment to openness, a shared vision for the future, and concrete plans to make the vision a reality, to accelerate innovation in mobile and offer consumers a richer, less expensive, and better mobile experience. The OHA hopes to deliver a better mobile software experience for consumers by providing the platform needed for innovative mobile development at faster rate and with higher quality than existing platforms, without licensing fees for either software developers or handset manufacturers. Now, let us learn what is the Android platform is. Andy Rubin has been credited as the father of the Android platform. His company Android Incorporation was acquired by Google in 2005. Working together, OHA members including Google began developing a non-proprietary open standard platform based on technology developed at Android Incorporation that would aim to solve the problems hindering the mobile community. The result is the Android project. Most Android platform developed is completed by Rubin's team at Google, where he acts as Vice President of Engineering and manages the Android platform roadmap. Google hosts the Android open source project and provides online Android documentation, tools, forums, and the software development kit or SDK for the developers. All major Android news originates at Google. Now, let us understand what is Android. Android is called as the first complete, open, and free mobile platform. Complete means allows for rich application development opportunities. Open means it is provided through the open source licensing, and it is free. So, Android applications are free to develop. Android application can be distributed and commercialized in a variety of ways. Now, let us discuss features of Android. First of all, as we mentioned earlier, it is free and open source. It is familiar and inexpensive development tools. It is freely available software development kit, familiar language, familiar development environments, reasonable learning curve for developers. If you know Java, it is very easy for you to learn Android mobile application development. It enables development of powerful application, rich secure application integration, and no costly obstacle to publication. It provides free market for applications and a new growing platform. Now, you might confuse with what Android is not. So, Android is not a Java ME implementation. Applications are written in the Java language, but they are not run within Java Mobile Edition virtual engine. And Java compiled classes and executable will not run natively in Android. It is not part of the Linux Phone Standard Forum or the Open Mobile Alliance. Android runs on an open source Linux kernel, but while their goals are similar, Android's complete software stack approaches goes further than the focus of this standard defining organization. It is not simply an application layer like UIQ or S60. While Android does include an application layer, Android also describes the entire software stack, encompasses the underlying operating system, the API libraries, and the application themselves. It is not a mobile phone handset. Android includes the reference design for mobile handset manufacturers, but there is no single Android phone. Instead, Android has been designed to support many alternative hardware devices. It is for all screen sizes. It is not Google answer to the iPhone. The iPhone is a fully proprietary hardware and software platform released by a single company called Apple, while Android is an open source software. Now, let us discuss the Android versions. Android is the operating system for powering screens of all sizes. Android version is named after a desert. The latest version of Android is Android 12, which is snow cone. Now, let us discuss one by one Android versions. Name, feature, app and API level they support. So, first version is obviously 1, which was named Alpha, and it supports web browser, camera, synchronization of Gmail, contacts and calendar. It also provides Google Map, Google Search and Google Talk with instance messaging, text messaging and multimedia message, media player, notification, voice dialer and YouTube video player. Now, other applications include alarm clock, calculator, dialer, home screen, pictures and setting. The next version of Android was 1.1, which is beta. The update resolved the bugs, changed the Android API and added number of features such as detail and reviews available when user searches for businesses on maps. It has ability to show or hide dial pad and save attachment in messages. Next version of Android was 1.5, which is Cupcake, and it includes virtual keyboard with text prediction and user dictionary for custom words, widgets, video recording and playback, Bluetooth copy and paste, animated screen transition, auto rotation, upload video on YouTube and upload photos to Picasa. The next version was 1.6, which is Donut, which has a facility for voice and text entry search, multilingual speech synthesis, updated technology support for CDMA or eVideo, VPNs and text-to-speech engine, and it has a support for WVGA screen resolutions. Expanded gesture framework and new gesture builder development was the part of this version. The next version of Android was 2.01, 2.1, which is named Eclair. It has facility to customize your home screen just the way you want it. It arranges apps and widgets across multiple screens and in folders. It has a stunning live wallpapers respond to your touch. The API level was 5 and 6 and 7. The next version of Android was 2.2 and 2.2.3, which is called Froyo. It has a voice typing, lets you input text, while voice action allow you to control your phone just by speaking, and API level it supports was 8. The next version of Android was 2.3, which is Gingerbread, and it has new sensor make Android great for gaming, so you can touch, tap, tilt and play away. It has a API level 9 and 10. The next version was 3.0, which is Honeycomb, and it was optimized for tablets and has API level 11 to 13. The next version of Android was 4.0, ice cream sandwich, which has a new refined design. It is simple, beautiful, and beyond smart. It has API level 14 and 15. The next version of Android was 4.1 to 4.3, which is named Jelly Bean, and it has fast and smooth with sleek graphics. With Google now, you get just the right information at the right time, and it has API level 16 to 18. The next version of Android was 4.4, which is named KitKat, and it is a more polished design. It has improved performance and it has some new features. The API level for this version was 19 and 20. The next version, which is version 5, is Lollipop. It gets the smarts of Android on screen, big and small, with the right information at the right moment. It has API level 21 and 22. The next version, which is 6.0, is Marshmallow. It has new app drawer, DOS mode, native fingerprint support, Android Pay, USB Type-C and USB 3.1 support with direct share, and API level is 23. The next version is 7.0 or Nougat. It has revamped notification, split screen use, file-based encryption, direct boot and data saver mode. It has API level 24 and 25. The next version is 8.0, which is Oreo. It has a picture-in-picture, Google Play Protect and emoji support. It has API level 26 and 27. The next version of Android was 9.0 or Pie, which has adaptive battery, adaptive brightness, intuitive navigation, dashboard, app timers, wind down and do not disturb and digital well-being features. It has API level 28. Then comes Android 10 and 11, which are not named after any desert, but it is just known as a Android 10 and Android 11. The latest version is Android 12. Now let us understand what is native Android application. Now Android phone come a suite of generic pre-installed application that are part of Android project, and it including but not necessarily limited to an email client, an SMS app management application, a full personal information management suite including calendar and contact list, a WebKit web browser, a music player and picture gallery, a camera and video recording applications, a calculator, the home screen, an alarm clock. Now all these applications you will find on your mobile when you buy it from some retailer. In many cases, Android devices is also shipped with some proprietary Google mobile applications, the Android Market Client downloading third-party Android applications, a full-featured mobile Google Maps application including Street View, driving direction and turn-by-turn navigation, satellite view and traffic conditions. So you will find these applications pre-installed on your phone. You will also find Gmail, which is mail client, and you can also find Google Talk, which is instant messaging client. Another application by Google is the YouTube video player that is also provided with your phone as a pre-installed application. Now let us discuss Android SDK features. The true appeal of Android as a development environment lays in the APIs. It provides as an application neutral platform. Android gives you the opportunity to create applications that are as much a part of the phone as anything provided out of the box. Let us see the list highlights some of the most noteworthy Android features. First of all, there is no licensing, distribution or development fees or release approval processes. It has a Wi-Fi hardware access. It supports GSM, Edge and 3G network, 4G network and 5G network for telephony or data transfer, enabling you to make or receive call or SMS messages or to send and retrieve data across different mobile networks. It has comprehensive APIs for location-based services such as GPS. It has full multimedia hardware control, including playback and recording with the camera and microphone. It supports API for using sensor hardware, including accelerometer and the compass and other sensors. It has library for using Bluetooth for peer-to-peer data transfer. It has also supports NFC. It has IPC message passing, and it has also supports shared data stores and background application and processes. It has home screen widgets, live folders and live wallpaper. It has also ability to integrate application search result into system search and an integrated open source HTML5 WebKit based browser. It has full support for applications that integrate map controls as a part of their user interface. It has mobile optimized hardware accelerated graphics, including path-based 2D graphics library and support for 3D graphics using OpenGL ES 2.0 standard. It has media library for playing and recording variety of audio, video or still image formats. It has localization through a dynamic resource framework and an application framework that encourages a reuse of application components and the replacement of native application. Now let us try to understand architecture of Android. As we discussed earlier, Android is an open source Linux based software stack created for a wide variety of devices and form factors. On screen you can show the major components of Android platform in figure. The first part is Linux kernel. The foundation of the Android platform is the Linux kernel. For example, the Android runtime or ART relies on the Linux kernel for underlying functionality such as threading and low-level memory management. Using a Linux kernel, Android allows to take advantage of key security features and allows device manufacturers to develop hardware drivers for well-known kernel. The next component is hardware abstraction layer or HAL. The hardware abstraction layer provides standard interface that expose device hardware capabilities to the higher level Java API framework. The HAL consists of multiple libraries modules, each of which implements an interface for specific type of hardware component, such as the camera or Bluetooth module. When a framework API makes a call to access device hardware, the Android system loads the library module for that hardware component. The next component is Android runtime. For device running Android version 5.0, API level 21 or higher, each app runs in its own process and with its own instance of Android runtime. ART is written to run multiple virtual machines on low memory devices by executing DEX files, a bytecode format designed especially for Android that's optimized for minimal memory footprint. Build toolchains such as Jack compile Java sources into DEX bytecode which can run on the Android platform. Now some of the major features of ART or ART includes the following. First of all, it has ahead of time and just in time compilation. It has optimized garbage collection. On Android 9 and higher, conversion of an app package's Dalvik executable format or DEX file to more compact machine code. It has better debugging supports, including a dedicated sampling profile, detailed diagnostic expectations and crash reporting, and the ability to set watch point to monitor specific fields. Prior to Android version 5.0, Dalvik was the Android runtime. If your app runs on ART, then it should work on Dalvik as well. But the reverse may not be true. Android also includes a set of core runtime libraries that provides most of the functionality of the Java programming language, including some Java 8 language features that the Java API framework uses. The next component is native C or C++ libraries. Many core Android system components and services such as ART and HAL are built from native code that requires native libraries written in C and C++. The Android platform provides Java framework APIs to expose the functionality of some of these native libraries to apps. For example, you can access OpenGL ES through the Android framework's Java OpenGL API to add support for drawing and manipulating 2D and 3D graphics in your application. If you are developing an app that requires C or C++ code, you can use the Android NDK to access some of these native platform libraries directly from your native code. Now, the next component is Java API framework. The entire feature set of Android OS is available to you through APIs written in the Java language. These APIs form the building blocks you need to create Android apps by simplifying the reuse of core modular system components and services, which includes the rich and extensive view system that you can use to build an app's user interface, including list, grids, text boxes, buttons, and even an embedded web browser. A resource manager providing access to non-code resources such as localized strings, graphics, and layout files. A notification manager that enables all apps to display custom alerts in status bar. An activity manager that manages the lifecycle of app and provides common navigation backstack. Content providers that enables app to access data from other apps such as contact app or share their own data. Developers have full access to the same framework APIs that Android system app use. The next component is system apps. Android comes with a set of core apps for email, SMS messaging, calendars, internet browsing, contacts, and more. Apps included with the platform have no special status among the apps the user chooses to install. So, a third-party app can become the user's default web browser, SMS messenger, or even the default keyboard. Some exceptions apply, such as system setting app. The system apps function both as app for users and to provide key capabilities that developers can access from their own app. For example, if your app would like to deliver an SMS message, you don't need to build that functionality. You can instead invoke whichever SMS app is already installed to deliver message to the recipient you specify. Now let us discuss factors that affect mobile application development. You should keep in mind the following factors while developing mobile application. First of all, it has low processing power, it has some limited RAM, it has limited permanent storage capability, small screen with low resolution, it has high cost associated with data transfer and slow data transfer rates with high latency. It has unreliable data connection and it may have limited battery life. So, some of the factors that affect app development time includes user interface and user experience, custom application, resource availability, app security and publishing the app designing, number of screens, devices, platforms, operating systems, third-party integration, features. Understanding the business logic, complexity of the app. So these are some of the factors you should keep in mind while developing mobile app. Now let us sum up. In this module, we have discussed the history of mobile application development. You have got detailed understanding of Android and its version, Android SDK features and architecture, and we also elaborate factors that should be given consideration while developing mobile application. I hope you enjoy this session. Thank you and happy learning.